Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another live stream of Hearthstone. So today is Monday, October 16th, and it is 3:45 Central Time, US Central Time, and I'm wondering if that is part of the issue, is that today I just started too early. And maybe I have been starting a little too early. Maybe I should wait until 5 p.m. Central Time before starting a stream. If I got feedback that was to that, I might listen to that. But then again, who knows? Like, I need 100 people, basically, to tell me start at 5 before I would be certain that that's a good sample size. If I get 2 people to tell me to start at 5, that might just be those 2 people's personal preferences that might be completely off. That has nothing to do with Hearthstone, though. We need to do 100 damage to enemy head, which we'll do, and play 50 Paladin cards, or 12 more Paladin cards, which we'll do. So we'll probably be done after this game with all of the daily quests for the America's account, which that's what my goal is. I want to try and make the Monday streams longer and the Friday streams shorter, and that can be done because if I get all 3 daily quests done on Monday, then I'll only have 2 on Tuesday and I'll only have 2 on Friday, assuming nothing gives me any trouble. Which maybe just for consistency's sake I should do that anyways, because if something does give me trouble, then I have all of an entire work week to fix it and work on any difficult daily quests. And we're going back to the silent post-show thing. We did it last time, but that's just gonna happen. Like, it doesn't matter if people don't like it or not. The truth is, the longer I stream, the better it is for my channel. Hands down, period. There's no arguments against it. Even if I'm streaming silent post-show, which is all I can really muster the energy to do at that point, after having recorded several hours of talking footage. Usually, like, the longer a live stream goes, the more YouTube recommends it. Like, in theory, I should just always be streaming. That's not realistic. It's not something I want to do, but that is how it should actually be done. Let's see. If we do this and this and attack, and then end the turn. Let's see. So the Game Developers Conference, to get back to news, is doing an exhibit for retro play. I think particularly the Nintendo NES Classic and Super NES Classic has very well revitalized the idea of retro gaming into a lot of people. It certainly has for me, and GDC is going to try and use that to their advantage, and pretty much every major video game convention does have a retro section where people go and play old games with other people, because it's kind of hard to most old game systems don't have online multiplayer, and you're not going to find very many other people that you want to do it, except for at these conventions. It's worth pointing out this is a Gamma Sutra article, and Gamma Sutra and GDC are sibling organizations under the parent company of UBM Americas. Another example there of a major corporation both owning the company that reviews video games and a company that that has some other level of influence on video games. GDC doesn't make games per se, but they do run a recognizable by name conference that will have many speakers, and those speakers will definitely influence the development of games in the future. So it wouldn't be very difficult in this slight vertical monopoly for the big parent company to say, we're only going to have speakers that talk nice about loot boxes. The game developers are going to see all these speeches that say loot boxes are awesome, and then a few years down the road, because they've seen that and that's what they've decided to listen to, we're going to see more loot boxes in games. Or the exact opposite.
Embrace the void.
That they hire speakers to talk good about loot boxes because the game developers already want to make loot boxes and they won't give them up, which is probably the case. I'm still heavily debating whether I should go to any conventions, and if I went to any, it would probably be 1 or 2 per year. And I don't know if that makes me a better video game critic to experience this kind of side thing that a video game convention is, and potentially just become friends with the video game industry. Honestly, it's probably a bad idea. It's probably just going to lead to me opening myself up to being influenced by video game conferences, conventions, and changing my own personal opinions and losing objectivity, which is definitely a problem. Let's see. I think the only thing I really need to do right now is maybe a little bit more damage to the face, and then I'm done. A game called Shin Megami Tensei Synchronicity Prologue, which is a side-scroller for PC, has been released for free. It's basically an advertisement for probably Shin Megami Tensei Synchronicity, but you can get it for free, but it's not on Steam. You'd have to go download it. I downloaded it, but frankly, it's just going to end up in my download folder for the rest of eternity, and I'll never install it or play it. You play as Jack Frost and Jack-o'-lantern, so it's almost a Christmas advertisement thing. So you can search it out there and play it, but it doesn't even really feel like... It doesn't even feel like it's doing a proper job on advertising the other thing it's supposed to be advertising. It may just, in fact, be to generate goodwill behind the name Shin Megami Tensei in general, which is a pretty long-running series. So let's play this Hunter deck, just because I know with the Hunter ability I can do damage to the face. Pokemon Go has leaked a suggested Generation 3 for the Halloween event. I did not say that sentence right. So basically, if you're still playing Pokemon Go, you can probably expect Generation 3 Pokemon to show up during the Halloween event. honestly, I think they need to be very careful having a Halloween event with Pokemon Go. The last thing you need is kids wandering around in the dark on days that aren't Halloween, where people know to be careful, and them getting lost, kidnapped, or hit by cars. Mostly hit. So hopefully, you would kind of hope that the Pokemon Go game itself, just in general, did not allow players to play after a certain, dusk. Just playing at night seems like a bad idea in general. Since that game requires you to walk around places.
What you want?
And the idea that it used to be safe to walk around at night is actually not true at all. It's never been safe to walk around at night. It's never been a smart move. So I'm not trying to be old man curmudgeonly. Just being realistic. Tripping hazards alone. If you're looking down on your phone, you could very easily trip in the dark a lot more than you can trip in the light. There's a lot of sexual harassment allegations going around in the world today, and ex-Uncharted developer has stepped into the ring to throw out his allegations. He alleges sexual harassment at Naughty Dog. Quote, "They tried to silence me by offering me $20,000. And anytime we get into this, personally, I want to know what the actual claims are. I want to know what the actual story is, because particularly the phrase sexual harassment has been broadened to so many different things. There is so much nuance now that needs to be said. Did somebody touch you on the shoulder, or did somebody hold you down and spit in your face? Those are really big differences. And maybe both are inappropriate, but I really want to know the real story and the whole story, and newspapers in particular have been very bad about telling the whole story and the real story. So let's read. It's a guide. Harassment took place in 2015. Ballard explained in a post on his personal Facebook last night. Following the abuse, Ballard said he subsequently suffered a mental breakdown. After explaining the situation to PlayStation HR, Ballard alleges that he was offered a significant amount of money to leave quietly, an offer which he declined.
This beast will not be tamed.
Let's read his full statement here. I was sexually harassed at Naughty Dog by a lead. My work environment became extremely toxic afterwards. In February 2016, I had a mental breakdown at work, and the Sony PlayStation HR became involved. When I told them about the harassment, they ended the call and fired me the next day. They decided the company was moving in a different direction. My job was no longer needed. They tried to silence me by offering me $20,000 if I signed a letter agreeing to termination, as well as not to disclose it with anyone. I declined to sign. I have been unemployed for 17 months since. When interviewers ask why I left Naughty Dog, I say I was burned out by crunch, ashamed to get to the root of the problem by being sexually harassed. Okay, so here's the problem I have with this statement, is that he's not giving any details. Maybe he's not legally allowed, but as the person who's reading the story, as just the story, I want the story. I want some details here. Sony, on the other hand, says they have no report of this, but I guess if this was clearly a cover-up as he's framing it, which he's had 17 months to frame this story apparently, like that fits in with his narrative. On the other hand, I could clearly see that this could be completely made up. And having no details and having no evidence, I have no clue. So I can't believe one above the other. Honestly, it could be that he was terminated for a completely unrealistic, different reason. It could be that he did have a mental breakdown and he was terminated for that, which would still be inappropriate, but it wouldn't have anything to do with sexual harassment. The phrase toxic now is so toxic as a phrase that anybody who uses it, I immediately have a bias against them. It really feels like he's just kind of jumping on the bandwagon now. Sony's response here. We have found no evidence of having received allegations from Mr. Ballard that he was harassed in any way at Naughty Dog or Sony Interactive Entertainment. Harassment is inappropriate conduct have no place in Naughty Dog and Sony Interactive Entertainment. Is their response, and it is your standard response. This really gets down to the core of you need to file a complaint, not with HR, because HR is not your friend at any job like this. You need to file a complaint with the labor's boards and the newspapers and the police and anyone and everyone else you can find outside of your company before you even talk to your company. Because you need it on paper work. You need it, if you're in the union, you need to file a grievance with the union completely before you even talk to the company and get this documented in so many places where those documents won't just magically disappear at the convenience of the company. Because now, 17 months later, people's memories are going to conveniently be forgotten. It's possible in the 17 months time they have laid off and eliminated everybody or silenced everybody who would have had any part or any knowledge of this at all. You need to immediately file, and it's the thing people don't want to do, but make these claims. It is not surprising to me that this is a male accusing sexual abuse, because honestly it happens as often, if not more often, to men as it does women. It's just that men don't complain about it as much in Hollywood in particular, but there's a high number of homosexual people, and so men are sexually harassed in Hollywood a lot too. It's just the number of complaints about it is not equal, and we need to work to have everybody complain about it if it's real, if it's really an issue. Again, with no details, we have no idea. Maybe somebody touched him on the shoulder. Maybe somebody forced him into a bathroom stall and fondled his genitalia. You don't know. Like, it could be anything of the spectrum. It could be a single word or phrase that they have problems with. Like, and what do you do if you think about it? What do you do if you are the HR company and somebody says, well, my boss called me a good guy and I find that sexually harassing? If somebody is just being completely unreasonable, what can you do? You've got to fire them. What else do? You tell them, you can try to talk to them. You can say, well, that's not extreme enough. But if they're gonna push it and push it and push it and cause trouble, like, you have to have a somewhat compatible work environment with your coworkers. Like, there are people that are constantly in many jobs, just constantly filing complaints, and they're illegitimate. And at a certain point, you have to ask them to leave or force them to leave. Let's see, I need 3 games of any class and challenge a friend. And let's see if we could get somebody online. Let's see, Wild Duel. Oh, seriously? Seriously? I think maybe he was already into another game. I don't think that was a intentional cancel. Win 3 games with any class, I suppose, is the next thing to do. So now on the European server, we can try this, I suppose. Let's just play good old mage with our 7 wins in ranked. In a general society thing to wrap up this rant, and hopefully we don't have to address allegations of inappropriateness constantly in the video game industry, but we kind of do. All kinds of inappropriateness happens all the time. But in general as a society, we need the gory details. The things the news refuse to report. Because we need examples of what is inappropriate so people know what not to do. Because half of the battle, particularly in harassment allegations in a job environment, is that one of the harasser and the harassee are nowhere on the same page as far as what is acceptable and what isn't. Like, very rarely is it the instance that the harasser is intentionally pushing the line and doing something that they know is harassment. More often than not, it's they think they're just kidding around, that they think it's appropriate, they think it's acceptable, and the other person doesn't. And until, as a society, we can actually create some common sense, which does not exist, really, you're constantly going to have problems like this. And so it's kind of just a thing that society needs to work through. Moving back to video games, more specifically, you can now spectate in Battle Royales, Fortnite Battle Royale, which, okay, like, I guess that makes sense. I don't know if this really is news. And, like, a new game that's kind of in beta added a feature. Let's see, what is this? Interesting. What game is this? Here's an article that has failed to tell me what the name of the game is. It looks like a Japanese RPG set in 3D animation. They're kind of all going that way. I guess the top-down 2D RPGs are getting a little too maligned by all the RPG Maker games out there. So, to combat that, the Japanese RPG Maker games are now going to 3D animation instead. It may also very well be that the Japanese animation industry just can't do 2D anymore. It's all CG, and nowadays that's in the anime itself is becoming the case, is that people, the new classes, the new animators don't know how to draw things using old styles and strategies.
I hope you like my invention.
Now, what really stinks about doing these daily quests is that I really need that victory. Nothing else I'm doing right now helps. And why I only have 2 daily quests right now is just because the European time to get that 3rd quest is a little later than when I start streaming. Let's see, killed this, and this, and we'll play this.
If you're sure.
Okay, so this game is called Atelier, Liddy, and Sueli, and it's... Let's see if we can get anything more from it. I've heard of the Atelier series, I think. And all of these games tend to come from series. And it is really beneficial to have at least a passing knowledge of anime in the video game industry if you're going to cover Japanese games and all. Even if you're only covering like Nintendo games that are pretty universal, it's still slightly helpful. Well, it comes to it's due out on the PlayStation 4, Switch, and PS Vita in Japan on December 21st, and in North America and Europe in early 2018. And it definitely is one of those games you're not going to see sites like Giant Bomb review. Like, sites like Giant Bomb in particular barely reviewing games at all. But if it's Japanese, you don't get many reviews at all. It's kind of silly. There's like twice as many games come out in a year, and yet, unless it's a AAA big title game, it gets no coverage at all. However, I can't really disagree with that either, because it's not like there's a lot of interest in a lot of these Japanese RPGs except for in Japan, and none of them get enough coverage or interest in them to ever give me any indication that they are done extraordinarily well or in a interesting new fashion.
They'll never know what
Here's another story. Gintama Rumble launches in English on January 18th in Asia, which is day and date with the Japanese release, which is to say then you can just import the game, so I bet wouldn't be surprised if Gintama Rumble doesn't actually come to the West as an official release. Let's see. But that doesn't really make the most sense either. We have Kevin Wu on the chat. First chatter in like almost an hour and a half. And then we block Kevin Wu. Man, really just losing my entire audience, frankly. Like, I'm having to help people to realize if they don't want to watch, they need to leave. Like, I don't know. Like, if you don't want to watch, if you've got complaints, leave. Don't bother to make a comment. Or make a comment and I'll block you. Like, frankly. Seriously. Now I'm gonna have to figure out if the block button really works or not. Let's do that. the thing is here too. When people violate the first rule of be nice, frankly, like you're forgetting the first rule, and you're like, why do people even watch me? What you just rant, you just do anything. I'm literally doing what most of the other popular things. Why do people watch PewDiePie? He just rants. He just talks about the news. It's like you're not even asking in a question, really. Like, people watch because they're entertained. If they're not entertained, then they need to go away. Or not watch. It's that simple.
Job's done.
Let's see. Blocked people, blocked people. How can we find blocked people on this YouTube? Most recent, most popular. YouTube has, by the way, started to better label fans on the on my end, so I know now how many subscribers the people that comment have and how many videos they have, which kind of is just this immediate response to like, oh, you're complaining about a video, you who have been on, who've had an account for 7 years and not made a single video. Let's see. It is definitely an easy way to dismiss people, but it's also a good way for creators to take a step back and realize they're not talking to creators and their opinions shouldn't be taken seriously. Let's see. Like, I don't want anybody watching.
What to do? What to do? Time runs out on me. I wonder.
I fish bigger game. That was an error.
And now we got a nice clean chat stream.
Tadingo! Yeah, done.
Let's see.
Back to work.
Some people just don't get the message. Honestly, it's like, oh, new comments with hashtags and URLs will be held for review by default. Let's see. It's a good time to look at my channel and see what. I guess hold all comments for review, hold potentially inappropriate things. That's new, so we'll try that one.
Well played.
And man, several of these pictures.
Greetings.
Hold that potentially inappropriate chat messages for review. There we go. Man, I'm looking at all of the people that I have blocked on my channel, and there is about 100 people, but you know, the vast majority of these are spammers. And I can tell they're spammers because their accounts have already been deleted and they have no icons. And I imagine even the ones that haven't been deleted, their names are pretty obvious. So we'll save those changes and close that page. We've got a little bit more news to go through. Let's see. I wanted to. Here we've got Nightbot here. Let's see if like Nightbot helps me any too when blocking people. Man, not the way I want to go. Like people making trouble, people violating the rules, people harassing me for no reason. Let's maybe I've let too many trolls on in the first place. Maybe that was the problem. Like, I would hate for one or a small few number of people to ruin it for everybody, but it might very well get down to that point where just stricter regulation on the first part is going to be required. Or maybe I'll just eventually give up and not even look at the chat, and that'll be even worse. Okay, we'll just delete that one and delete that one. Spam protection.
They'll never know what hit
That. Still trying to win. Excessive caps, excessive emotes, links, excessive symbols, repetitions. All things that could be turned on. Commands. Interesting, no default command for banning people. I guess that's probably for the best with Nightbot. Nope, Nightbot's not very helpful there. Alright. So, back to the show. Oh, yeah. One bad apple just derails the entire news segment. News, which is pretty much... It's exactly the opposite of what I want. Like, the point is to have fun and really have a conversation and be friendly and talk, so it adds to the show, not so it derails the show and then I have to go ban people because they're just being rude. Like,
this one's mine.
And then I have to ban the person again because they don't get a message and decide to go use an alternate account to, like, that's gonna work for him. Like, seriously, if you've been banned anywhere, that means go away. You're not allowed here. Don't come back. We don't want you here. And that's exactly what it means here. I don't want that kind of negativity and useless conversation. If you don't like my content, good, go away. Go make your own content. Go find somebody that makes you happy. Don't leave me a message on the way out. I won't miss you, I promise you. Now, let's get off that derail. Rocket League's Halloween event kicks off tomorrow, adding a new free way to open loot crates, which I guess that's good. Like, I suppose that's nice. Play games to earn event-specific currency. Still, it's bringing people to the shop to buy loot crates. So this feels more like just a nefarious scheme to get more people into the mentality of opening loot crates more than just being completely nice and helpful to the players. Once you have the loot crates in your game, once you've crossed that line, the only way you can fix it, in my mind, is to get rid of the loot crates or make it only purchasable by in-game currency. Anything in between, you're still leaving that door open for people to get into that gambling feeling.
I wonder.
But I guess if people are playing Rocket League and they have a bunch of loot crates they've collected, being able to buy the keys without money is slightly helpful. But it's still loot crates, and anything with the phrase loot crates in it is problematic at this point. It's an unwelcome addition to any game in my mind. Here's a story of a game called The Wild 8. It has been updated. Like, I guess The Wild 8 has been out for a while.
I should beat you.
Oh wait, no, it's not out because it says here it's scheduled to come out in February 2018. So this game is in beta, and it's Animal Update 0.7, and I guess that makes that kind of obvious that it's in beta. Do I have this? And then this. Seriously? And in the Wild 8, you play as wolves, I believe. let's watch the trailer. No, it doesn't seem like you play as a wolf. Seems like you may be followed by wolves or have some wolf companions, but it does seem like you're playing as a human. And you also have a deer. And this looks so much like Don't Starve and so many other games of similar design. And yeah, there's nothing I'm seeing that's super unique about this. It's just a more realistic Don't Starve top-down survival game, Minecraft without the crafting type thing. I guess we're probably getting the last few drips from that spring or that spout, where people who were making Minecraft clones are now now wrapping up production. I doubt in the next 4 years we'll see too many more Minecraft clones. Is this the same game? Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. Yeah, that is the same article. Overwatch has broken the 35 million player mark. Explosive growth might have slowed, but it sure hasn't stopped. 35 million players is certainly a lot. That's not all at the same time, of course. That's over the lifetime, and a lot of those might have been people who played for 5 minutes and left. A lot of those might be people who played and cheated and got banned and had to make a second account. But that is Blizzard's number, and I don't believe it's unrealistically high. The number's probably padded, like all numbers are. Windows 10 includes tools to help you use less drive space, one of which is the compression utility called Compact. Normally you would access this through the command line. Now there's an open source graphical interface called Compact GUI to make a built-in utility much easier to use. So, in theory, it's going to compress your hard drive, your SSD. Honestly, I don't think you'd want to do that, just because it's going to add some extra reads and writes to your SSD, and it's just going to potentially slow down your game playing a little bit. And we're still very much in this point where video games still load, and they're never not gonna load, because a lot of times it has nothing even to do with your hard drive speed or anything at all. They're just hard-coded loads to last a number of seconds. That being said, the Shadow of War, Mordor Shadow of War game is 100 gigabytes. I have, I believe, a 256 gigabyte SSD that has to hold my operating system and every Steam game that's installed and every video that I record. And each recording I make that's like an hour can be as high as 5 or 6 gigabytes itself. Particularly if I was recording Mordor, it would be that high to get the high quality that I try to strive for as far as visual quality. Which, if I want to go back into rants, people can complain all they want about the Hearthstone live stream, but you're totally missing all the other pre-recorded videos I make, which are way better. The Hearthstone live stream admittedly is the laid back, not really trying videos. So you've totally failed to subscribe to my channel and look at the playlist and see every single video that's been coming out every Monday for Friday for 2 years now. Because there's a lot of content there that's not getting mentioned or viewed. And I know it's not getting viewed because videos literally have no views on them. But people have got me on tilt a little bit. The Joe Rogan Experience talks to... well, no, that's not quite right. This article tricked me. The person who works on Joe Rogan Experience, young Jamie, talks to PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds and competitive streaming. No, wait a minute. Let me reread this. This sentence is too long and too complicated. So, this person, young Jamie, who works for Joe Rogan's Experience, but isn't Joe Rogan, who would, very interestingly, might have some interesting things to say about video games, and probably has said them on his own show. But this person who works for him talks about PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds and competitive streaming. Which is to say, somebody that I don't know, and I don't think really I should know, and I don't think I really should care about it, talks about this. Hey, here's a good article. Here's a good question for us. Does Joe Rogan play video games? Answer. He was avoiding it for sure. He was really deep into Quake. He talked about that on the podcast a few times in the 90s. He had a T1 line installed in his apartment. So he was big into... I think he was friends with Fatal 1 TY online.
There is little time.
So here's an article. He says when Joe Rogan was interviewing somebody, they were showing footage of Borderlands 2, and he felt that Joe was looking at it and really wanted to get into it, but knows he shouldn't touch it because he'd have to give up archery, and he really likes archery right now. So it seems like Joe Rogan in particular is singularly focused as much as a famous person could be. And so he doesn't want to get into video games and have it suck his life away, which, okay, fair enough. Like, I've heard people make these arguments. It is an argument from somebody saying that they don't have the ability to regulate their own time and hobbies and have multiple hobbies, but you know, some people aren't capable of doing that, and that's really kind of the only question I even had about this, is I wanted to see if Joe Rogan, I don't even listen to Joe Rogan, but or his podcast, but I figured he might be interesting to say. How many news stories do I have left? Well, we've got still a few to go, and now we're up to rank 20 on single player. And what we're gonna have as a problem is the challenge of friends. So we lost a friend. Let's see if we can add some friends. I'm just gonna start randomly sending friend requests to people. Like, there's far too many people that have abandoned Hearthstone completely, or they're just not on. And eventually I think I am gonna have to just start combing people down into, these are the people that are always online at the time I'm streaming, and everybody else is gonna get kicked whether they're a fan or not. Like, I suppose that I probably should just wait until I fill up a friends list. Well, in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, that's going to be it for this recording. It's been yet another odd one. Like one person derailing both the Friday and the Monday stream, and they're downright just harassing the entire channel and the entire stream at that point. So they're banned and reported. And we'll never think about them again. Which is kind of stupid because I think they were friended me on one of these accounts too. And so I'm going to have to go find them and unfriend them on this too. And man, it was a pretty 180. Like just a 180. You tell one person no once, they don't listen. You tell one person no the second time, they don't listen. You tell them the third time, they don't listen. And now they're trying to destroy the streams just out of stupidity, I suppose. Quit wasting your time. If you can even see the stream, if you aren't banned from that, which preferably I'd like you to be banned from everything at this point. Quit wasting your time. Go watch something that enjoys it. Forget about this channel. What a weird way to end an episode. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.